Tell here with Vito Mielnicki, now rated number 5 by the WBA at the 154-pound division, making his ESPN debut. He's fought on ESPN Plus, but now he's going to be opening up the card when Keyshawn Davis fights for a lightweight title. Valentine's Day, Madison Square Garden on ESPN, fighting undefeated Connor Coyle. Got 20 or so wins, undefeated. Vito, how you doing, man? How you feeling about this fight?
Hey, I'm feeling good. Training camp's going good. Locked in, ready to go. I know what we have in front of us, and I know what we got to take care of. So, that's really the main focus.
Yeah, you look at Connor Coyle. He is 34 years old and doesn't have recognizable names on his record. But when you watch tape on him, he's not bad. He throws a lot of combinations and
hmm
hasn't lost. What do you think of Connor Coyle in this matchup?
And I think Connor Coyle's where he's at for a reason. He's ranked, I believe, top five or three, two or three in the WBA at 160. So I'm moving up to 160 for this fight, and for my following fights as well. But he's at where he's at for a reason. He's a really good fighter. I know he's training his ass off, ready to go. Come February 14th, but that's what we're doing too. And yeah, that's really it. I know he's coming prepared.
Wow. Well, you actually just dropped some news on me because I'm here looking at the rankings at 54, thinking you're still gonna go ahead and fight at
Yeah,
54. But no, so this is a 160-pound debut.
yeah. This is my 160 debut. First time fighting at 160. 54 was getting pretty tough for me to make. Um, I feel like it was worse for me to try to do than and not as healthy for me to do than for me to move up and feel stronger on fight night.
Well, 60 is a wide open division right now. You got some good fighters like Johnny Beck and everything and Adames, Shiraz, but it's
hmm
an open division. And you mentioning Coyle is rated in the top three or so with the WBA. Are you chasing down the old man? Are you chasing down Arislandi Lara for a title shot?
I mean, listen, we're gonna focus on what's in front of me right now. I have a really good fighter in front of me, Connor Coyle, and that's really all the focus is. Haven't thought anything in advance, just focusing on the present, focusing on the now.
Back in the day, matchups like these, Irish versus Italian, were prominent, in boxing. And I'm sure you watched Gotti versus Ward growing
hmm
up from New Jersey. Do we get a Gotti versus Ward one where it's this war between, the Irish and Italian guy, or do we get more like Gotti Ward two when one fighter, Gotti, is much more dominant than the other?
Hey, obviously, second one sounds better to me, but you're gonna have to tune in on February 14th and see. That's really all it comes out to. Tune in February 14th and witness this great fight, witness fireworks, and witness a dominant performance.
So you're not shooting down the prospect of a potential war. Like, is that actually something? Because some fighters are like, I never want to be in a fight like that. Are you
Yeah,
actually one of the fighters that says, I'd like to be in a war like that one day?
we could go wherever wherever. I've been and experienced it all, whether it was in sparring, whether it was in real fights. Um, Wherever the fight goes, you got to be ready to go to. So as a fighter, I mean, obviously nobody wants to get into a war where you got no brains after. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just a fact of the matter. But you have to be willing to go there, and I'm willing to go there if it needs to.
Gotcha. Speaking of sparring, you still getting rounds in with Jamal Charlo for this camp?
Haven't gotten rounds in with him this camp. Um, I know he's working on, but I know he's been traveling a little bit, but he's working. But yeah, I haven't gotten the rounds in with him this camp. Have been getting great work though. 160, 168. Been great work down here for sure.
I know Ronnie Shields. He's always able to get you good work. Any names you could share that you've been using in preparation for this fight?
Marquise, I know you know Marquise Taylor.
Yeah, from Texas.
Yeah, me and Marquise have been getting a lot of rounds in. A lot of other great names too. A lot of other great fighters. But just I've been doing a lot of work with Marquise. He's gonna be ranked, I believe, at 160 in the BA too. I believe, right?
Yeah, he's
So
entering the top 15. Yep.
yeah, Marquise, one hell of a fighter for sure. So we've been getting some great rounds in.
Yeah, they call him the O Snatcher. So I imagine he's up for it when he's sparring with you.
Always, always. Yeah, he's a great fighter. Makes it difficult every day in sparring. So, getting great work.
you've flashed the power at times in your career, but
Hmm.
also have tried to box. What identity are you trying to forge stylistically and as a fighter? What's the fighter you're dreaming of ascending to becoming? You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Who are you trying to build into?
Yeah, I feel like I've always been like a boxer puncher, always had crack. Just really becoming a very efficient boxer puncher. Obviously, you have to be able to go to the inside when it needs to go there. Um, but yeah, stylistically, that's what I'd consider myself.
What does Ronnie think? What does Ronnie feel like? Hey, I want to see more of this, or this is a talent you have that you need to take more advantage of. Like, what's
Hmm.
some of the things Ronnie says in regards to that?
Well, I feel like my combination punching. Ronnie's been trying to increase my combination punching. My volume really never been high, but we've been trying to increase that for sure.
Does that alter the conditioning in your training and so that you can throw more punches per round?
Yeah, I wouldn't never consider that because like I've always been like my conditioning's never been a problem. Like doing 10 rounds today, sparring, no problem with three different guys. So it's like whatever you're in shape as a fighter. I've been doing this for so long. You know when to rest in the ring. You know when to fight. You know when to like you know what I mean. That's never been a problem. But I feel like it's just doing it, just going in there and letting your hands fly. And obviously staying behind my jab. I have a great jab. Really never. I've displayed it at times, like you said, but um, definitely want to display that more as well.
To be honest, Vito, I think fans and experts they might be on the fence when they're being sold on Vito Mielnicki. So
Hmm.
that now that you're opening up a big card with Keyshawn headlining and it's in the Garden, it's in New York. Like how important is that to you to I mean I know you might not care what people think, but I guess make people believers in this fight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure. I feel like I mean you hear the noise, you hear the talk. I don't care what nobody says. You're gonna hear it. People could say, "Oh, I stay off social media." No, you're gonna hear it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you could try not to read the comments, but you're gonna get your DMs. You're gonna get your talk on a YouTube, Instagram. So that's just what it is. Obviously, I'm the biggest believer in myself. I have great people who believe in me around me, and we know what I'm capable of. We know they see what I do in the gym every day, and now it's just continue to do what I do in the ring. Just continue to win. That's all that matters.
Tim Bradley, the Hall of Famer, commentating your fight. He
Hmm.
said some good things, but he also said, and I'm going to quote him, you need to be meaner in there. I guess there was a few
Hmm.
rounds where you were touching gloves a lot, and his
Hmm.
whole idea was you got to be a little meaner in there. What's your response to that?
Nah, for sure. I mean, Tim knows that you're not gonna have a great night every night you go in that ring. But I mean, listen, him as a Hall of Famer, you look at that, you take his advice too. But at the end of the day, he also knows that fighters go through things, and they have their nights. They have their good nights, their bad nights, their great nights. And as a fighter, he knows that. So, for I respect and I listen to all the commentating. Watch my fight without the commentating, with the commentating. But I also laugh at it at the end of the day, because to question if I'm made for this, to question if this is what that I can do this, I laugh at that too. Because I've been at the top my whole life, whether it was amateur or pro. I've been at the top of the game.
You know, um, I want to ask too about you being in Ronnie Shields' camp. How much have you gotten to see David Morell getting ready for this big fight Saturday with Benavidez?
No, I have. He comes in after us in the gym. He's the next session after us, so I mean, he looks strong. Looks in the best shape that I've seen since being down here. And yeah, I expect a great fight, a firefight between two great fighters.
What's been your thoughts, him as a fighter, observing him up close? What could you tell the fans heading into his fight Saturday that you've learned just from training alongside him in the gym?
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot that hasn't been displayed either on in the ring too. So I'm excited to see him display a lot more come in this fight, obviously against a better opposition who display a lot more. So I'm excited to watch that and see that unfold on the biggest stage.
He's shown like a lot of athleticism with his footwork and everything, but we haven't really had to see him fight going backwards yet. Nobody's made him do that. Do
Hmm.
you think he could pull that out against Benavidez, and will he need to pull that out against Benavidez?
Definitely, I think there's going to obviously come a time in the fight where David Benavidez is going to back up whoever he fights at some point in the fight. So Definitely gonna have to use his legs, display his legs, and show probably an aspect that people really haven't seen before. And I feel like that could be where he's most dangerous when he's on his legs and punching at the same time,
Punching off the back foot even. Hurt.
punching like off his movement. Yeah.
What's your prediction on the fight, man? Obviously, I imagine you're gonna lean towards Morell. You guys got Ronnie
Mm.
Shields together, but like what's your analysis of the fight? How's it go?
Yeah, I feel like it's a great fight for the fans, and I'm excited. Realistically, 50-50 fight, two great fighters at the prime of their career. Um, and they have bad blood for each other too, so it should be really exciting and a great fight overall.
And also, lastly, man, you made it. Well, actually, I want to take you back to your last fight before you get out of here too. Rarely will you see scorecards like you saw in your last fight. One judge had you
Mm,
winning every round, the other one 8 rounds, and then one of them had it a draw.
yeah.
What do you think they were seeing? What do you think about that?
Um, Definitely wasn't my best night, but definitely wasn't a great night for me. But overall, I watched the fight several times. You can give him 2 rounds, maybe three. Don't know where they got a draw from, but that's why you try not to leave it in the judge's hands at all. There's and that this is why boxing is so difficult too, because it's an opinionated sport. At the end of the day, everybody's got their own opinion from three different angles on the ring, and that's just how it goes. Obviously, you got to do a better job come fight night and dominate at a higher level, especially come this fight. So but yeah, I don't know what they were watching there. I've watched the fight several times, and I do understand that it wasn't a great performance. But I also know what I did and how the scorecard should have went. But that's just boxing. We all know that.
Sounds like you feel like it wasn't your best night. Not so why is that? Was it something tripped you up in camp? Was it something the other guy was doing?
Nah, just was it some you have those nights as an athlete. That's just it. Have those nights, and that's one of them. Just blessed to be have gotten out of there with the W. We put in all the work in camp, so I expected nothing less of that. But in the garden, obviously, you expect to leave an imprint on everybody who's in attendance and watching. And I'm excited to do that come this fight too.
And lastly, man, you let it be known, man, you're only thinking about Connor Coyle. But top rank, you went top rank now, and they technically have the number one rated guy in the division in Johnny Beck.
Mhm.
You give that any thought? A build up towards that fight, that goal?
No, not at all. I haven't given it no thought. I understand what's in front of me, what's at stake in this fight, so I'm just worried about this one.
How do you see the fight playing out? How do you visualize that going down?
Yeah, two guys trying to establish their fight. Um, the way they want the fight to go, and two guys, he's got to know. So obviously he doesn't want to lose his O. Gonna be a great fight. I'm ready for whatever fight he brings, and I'm sure he's gonna be ready for every whatever fight I bring. So just expect a great fight, firefight, and fireworks.
And Xander Zayas, does that fight make more sense like now, even thinking about it for Puerto Rican Day Parade this year, or does that make more sense? Actually, he's at 54 and you're at 60, so I guess that answers that, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'm focused on this fight and only this fight.
Gotcha. Thank you, Vito, for your time, man. If there's anything else you want to let the fans know, go for it. But otherwise, we'll be seeing you Valentine's Day.
Yes, sir. Hey, just tune in. Going to be a great night of fights. Not just my fight, but all the other fights on the card. So tune in. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets. Watch on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and watch greatness come February 14th.